We know it's hard for these projects to pencil out when you have restricted rents. So for new development in particular, you definitely need some kind of subsidy. You need soft money. So I would encourage redevelopment agencies.
Okay, we're almost out of time, so one last question. Looking into the future, you've won each of your nominations, you're in the governor's office or what have you. What are we looking at for 2019, and what are we looking at for 2020? We've heard a lot about recession coming in 2020, first quarter. Do you guys see that? Do you see it in the metrics? Give us the next 12 to 18 month view, if you're changing your strategy at all.
I think we have a different strategy for affordable housing, a different one for market rate. On the market rate side, we've actually slowed down since it's a 3.5 year cycle to actually, get the units to rent at least 3.5 years. We think there might be a slowdown there. On the other hand, I think for affordable housing, it might even be a housing renaissance. I mean, with the governor and his push for more housing, you have the state legislators actually, the number of bills that you actually have up at the state are phenomenal, and they expect quite a few of them actually to be passed. And we're talking about, $500 million in additional state credits that could help with financing. Additionally, when we have a slowdown, you actually can buy land for a lot less since you're not competing with a market rate developer or the for sale developer. Your construction costs come down because the velocity of construction slows down. So all that is good for affordable housing, while I would say it's not necessarily good for the market rate side.
I have a theory on predictions of the future, and it comes from the fact that I think it was in 2007, right before the entire economy went to hell in a handbasket, there was a bank event where they put on a big deal, and they had their national economist come into town, and he was giving a whole talk on what was going on, and he was hitting on potential problems in the future, but he basically said it's a 1 to 2% growth for the next year, and of course the market went completely downhill. So we could sit up here and talk about how great it's going to look, or how it's going to be middling, or it's going to go downhill. I don't think we know it. I think it's ultimately going to be what actually does physically happen in the market. There are too many different things going on out there. I have been personally looking at the fact that the tax cuts that came in will overheat the economy, but I also see everything outside of the U.S. has been starting to move to a recession. So I'm not sure where that's going to go. I do think that you have affordable housing will always have demand for it, and so it's kind of a good place to be. But in general, I don't know where the future is going to go. We just need to be able to make sure that we're ready for whatever's going to be happening.
Andre, June, any insight?
Well, yes, I mean, there may be a recession a year or 2 years out, but from a real estate perspective, I think we're fine. From a supply standpoint, since the Great Recession, we haven't seen the level of supply being built in pretty much all property types, and especially when we're talking about affordable housing. I mean, we all know that there's a tremendous demand for affordable housing. And here in Los Angeles and the markets that my company that we're in, we target high barrier entry markets where affordable rents are 30% below market. So regardless of a recession, I think we're fine.
I learned a great lesson from your partner, from Daryl, when we were going through the whole Prop 10, what's going to happen with Costa Hawkins thing. And Daryl's like, yeah. We went through that shit in New York. We'll just figure it out. And at the end of the day, it's like we have such a big housing crisis. There's such a huge housing shortage, especially in the affordable segment here in LA. Statewide, I think we need to think differently about how we're approaching real estate, more from what can we do together versus what can we do ourselves. We've been doing a lot of work with the BIA, for example. They've done a super comprehensive study. Percy jumped in, kind of explaining a lot of the processes with regards to how long CEQA takes and the QC, the qualified census tract could be here one day, then it disappears the next day, and that blows the project up. So being able to think about this from an industry perspective, I think that's where the industry should be headed. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we have the tools that we could solve here. There's way more capital in the world than we have projects. If we're able to basically streamline a lot of these different opportunities, we can actually get shit done. Like Metro can put $52 billion into the city just to expand a whole bunch of shit that's going to be useless in a couple of years. Why can't we do that from the capital market standpoint?
June, something to add? No. Please, nobody email our CEO with the nice language that Andre used. But we got one question. Time for one in the front.
For the moderator, the panel, and the audience. Fiona Ma is the new state treasurer elected in California. And two hot buttons for her are housing and jobs. If I were you, and Josie and I was there in City Hall 2 weeks ago, hearing Fiona Ma, get a hold of her in Sacramento, and she'll listen, all right? She's an EY alum from San Francisco and has a finance background. And she'll push Newsom and Garcetti, all right? She isn't afraid at all to push both of them, all right?
She's a CPA. We're not afraid of anything,
I know that.
except tax reform.
It's, well, and tax time is here.
Three things real quick. First, if your name is Sean Burton, Robin Hughes, Rose Olson, Laura Achuleta, Adam Mack, Corey Creek, or Josh Hamilton, please come up on stage right now. Your panel is beginning.